Welcome to the future. Welcome to Trend Hacker. 2035, San Gimignano, Italy. The once vibrant olive leaf, now a brittle husk, crumbles in Matteo's hand, a stark reflection of the parched Tuscan earth beneath his feet. Once green, the hills of San Gimignano now shimmer with a desolate, dusty gold. 12 long years have passed since the devastating drought of 22, the harbinger of increasingly severe dry spells. The last drought receded months ago, but its scars linger, etched deep into the Tuscan landscape. A pang of loss pierces Matteo's heart. He had already surrendered his beloved herd to the drought's unforgiving advance last year. Now, only the memory of their contented lowing remains, a haunting counterpoint to the desolate silence that has settled over the once vibrant land. His livelihood now hinges on the mercy of other producers and the fluctuating milk price, a cruel twist of fate that makes him even more vulnerable. Yet, the milk price, the lifeblood of his mozzarella, has soared to an alarming €1, 60 cents per kilogram. With 5 liters needed to make just 1 kg of cheese, his costs are nearing a devastating €10, leaving a gaping wound in his livelihood. No, Matteo whispers, tracing the worn portrait in his cheesemaking shed. What would you do? The weight of his ancestors' expectations presses upon him like the heavy stone walls of San Gimignano itself. But Matteo is also a pragmatist, keenly observing the harsh realities of a changing world. He sees the desperation in the faces of his neighbors, their livelihoods hanging in the balance. He sees the empty shelves in the village market, where the once abundant mozzarella, a staple of the Tuscan diet, is now a rare and expensive delicacy. Yet, there is an option. The lab-grown milk revolution is in full swing, fueled by the adaptability and regulatory ease of precision fermentation, a technology that has quietly evolved since the 1986 countries like India, the USA, and Brazil have embraced it wholeheartedly, with lab-created milk accounting for over 50% of their dairy consumption. It is a revolution built on efficiency, sustainability, and the promise of a future where food production can keep pace with a growing population without further straining the planet's resources. In Italy, however, the heart of traditional cheesemaking, the winds of change blow more gently. The villagers cling to the romance of the land, the animals, and the centuries-old techniques that have defined their mozzarella di bufala. The thought of replacing the milk of their beloved buffalo with a laboratory concoction is met with at least a deep sense of betrayal. But the drought, the rising costs, and a future where tradition might not be enough all weigh heavily on Matteo's heart. He paces the cobblestone streets of San Gimignano, his brow furrowed in thought, the weight of his family's legacy upon him. He knows he has to make a choice that will define his future and impact the community. And so, with a heavy heart and a glimmer of hope, Matteo decides to venture into the lab-grown milk revolution. On the train to Milan, Matteo watches the Tuscan landscape blur past. His destination is a state-of-the-art lab-grown dairy facility. Matteo steps into a world of cold, clinical light. The air hums with the sterile scent of disinfectant, starkly contrasting the earthy aromas of his cheese-making shed. Rows of stainless steel vats gleam like an army of silent giants. The lab and its technology are sterile compared to his rustic cheese-making shed. He witnessed firsthand how precision fermentation, a process refined since the 80s, and without regulatory hurdles like lab-grown meats, can replicate the complex proteins of milk with a fraction of the environmental impact. He is fascinated by the intricate dance of microorganisms and impressed by the meticulous care and commitment to sustainability behind the lab-grown dairy operation. But the actual test lies in the taste. He samples the lab-grown milk, the creamy texture, subtle sweetness, and pure fresh flavor which is remarkably close to the milk he knows. The Milanese skyline burns with the setting sun as Matteo leaves the lab, his mind pounding lab-grown milk. It is a lifeline cheaper, more constant production, but can it replace the soul of his craft? The train journey back to San Gimignano is a solitary one. Matteo sits in silence, his gaze fixed on the darkening landscape, his mind a battleground of conflicting emotion. Months later, Matteo wakes to a shaft of sunlight. The same Tuscan sun has scorched his fields, but today it feels like a promise. He looks at the familiar landscape, rolling hills, ancient olive groves, and a small bioreactor. Little Sophia, perched on her grandfather's shoulders, points a chubby finger at the gleaming metal. It's like a spaceship, she exclaims. Her grandfather, old Beppe, merely grunts. Progress, he mutters, not happily. We'll see. Just a drop, Matteo whispers. The lab-grown milk, a precious elixir in his weathered hands. It is more than an ingredient. It is a bridge, a fragile connection between the world he knows and the uncertain future that beckons. The familiar, earthy scent of buffalo milk mingles with the sterile tang of the new, a bittersweet combination of tradition and innovation. Days blur into nights as Matteo tweaks his recipe. Each temperature adjustment, each recipe tweak, is a step towards the new old taste. But then a breakthrough. Even old Beppe, his palate honed as a cheesemaker of generations, can't discern the difference. And the cheese. Matteo closes his eyes, inhaling the aroma. It is there, the subtle tang, the delicate sweetness, and the essence of the Tuscan pastures. Speranza, he breathes. Hope. He has created something extraordinary, a cheese that honors his ancestors while embracing the possibilities of a changing world. Mozzarella Speranza, he declares. A week later, the piazza thrums with nervous excitement. Nonna Isabella's rosary beads click a steady rhythm, her prayers mingling with the whispers of anticipation. Young Marco, unable to contain his eagerness, bounces on his heels, his eyes wide with a childlike wonder. All eyes are on Matteo as he emerges, bearing a platter of his creation like a sacred offering. The creamy white surface of the cheese glistens under the Tuscan sun, a beacon of hope amidst the lingering shadows of doubt. With a hand that trembles slightly, Matteo offers his mozzarella speranza to the expectant crowd. A hush falls over the piazza. Then, a collective sigh of relief ripples through the crowd as smiles bloom on weathered faces. It is good, Matteo, they declare in unison. It is the taste of hope. A collective sigh of relief sweeps through the piazza, like a warm breeze finally breaking the stifling heat. The villagers line up with a newfound sense of wonder and gratitude, eager to taste Matteo's creation. Each bite of mozzarella speranza is a revelation. It is a cheese that whispers stories of the past while embracing the possibilities of the future, a symbol of resilience and hope in a world grappling with the harsh realities of climate change and dwindling resources. It is a cheese that embraces more sustainable production and a new balance of tradition and progressive technology.